In today's video, I wanted to show you the different profile of the belly in different women who have diastasis recti. I understand the importance of finding inspiration and finding hope, knowing that somebody in front of us who have the similar body type, who have similar situation as you, have healed their diastasis recti. And for me, I work the same. Like if I seen somebody who have done it before me, who have success before me, I knew that I could do the same. But if I didn't find somebody who are similar to me, I felt really alone. And I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that because seeing is believing. And I wanted to start off by saying that we all human, we all moms, especially women, I preach for women, like we are amazing, we are a miracle. We have a miracle body to nourish, to care for a baby. So don't get beat up about how you look currently and oh, so and so bounced back so quickly and so looks like they had never had a baby, and having that bounce back mindsets or culture that oh, they have to be a certain way by a certain time. There's no timeline to it. The timeline is what you are imposing to yourself. But I also do wanted to say, on the other hand, if you haven't done anything for several months and even maybe for a year or 2 years, and you have been not liking the way you are, and you are not feeling confident, and you are feeling that you're self-sabotaging yourself, and you knew that and you're not happy about this, do something about it for yourself. Do something, because you're gonna feel so much better about yourself. And not only that, you are able to radiate that energy for people around you. So accept the fact that yes, I don't like it, and I'm gonna work on it. Versus on the other side, it's like I like my body the way I am, and I'm okay with it. Even though maybe I am chubbier and I am like looking like certain weight, doesn't matter. I like it. There's a difference to that, and I am somebody who believes that if you like yourself, if you like the way you are, you don't need to compare with other people. As long as you like it, you're fine. But don't make that as an excuse for you, like, oh, I'm just gonna take my time and give myself grace. I know I just had a baby. If you're not liking the way you are, you can definitely do something. And I'm not talking about something that is vigorous. You can start with walking, start with lifestyle habit changes, and start with some small things. So let's look at these photos on my Instagram at BeckyChoi_. Let's start by looking at myself on my picture. You can see that my belly should start rounding underneath my sternum, and then my widest at the belly button where I have 4 fingers, 2 knuckle diastasis recti. And this is common for moms with DR. They get stretched the most throughout the pregnancy around the belly button, and then start rounding in after the belly button, like on the lower core, and then you see a lot of loose skin hanging there. So I don't know what my measurement at that time was for my upper and lower belly, but upper diastasis and lower diastasis recti. But if you wanted to check out what your measurements are, you can check out that video. I'm going to post the link here below, but I really wish that I know what it was. So I had a baseline at that time, but I have no clue because nobody taught me about that. So that's me. Did I mention I was 5'4", and then so my torso is neither too long or too short, so it's like a normal torso for me. Now here's another mama. She birthed 6 babies. Amazing, isn't it? Like I'm just talking about like how amazing our women's bodies are. What a miracle to birth 6 baby in in our body, right? And then you can see her starting line. She was not as bulging as I did where I started at my sternum. Her sternum underneath is not as it's flatter, but not that flat, right? You can see that there's a flare ribs there, and then she's starting to bulge more around the belly button, and then more prominence at under the belly button. So you can see there are a lot of loose skin there. She started with a 5 to 6 fingers gap. That's like a whole palm of diastasis recti, more than that, and then 2.5 finger depth of DR. When you sink into the 5 to 6 finger gap there, she can fit almost a whole finger depth into it. So it was really severe at that time. And then so after 12 months, she is able to get to where she can see on the right side of the picture. She's amazing. Obviously there's still a lot of loose skin there, and loose skin isn't something that you can just shrink. It'll probably stay like that or still shrink a little bit more once she stops breastfeeding. She's doing great though. She's doing amazing. So Here is another mama here. She had a 4-finger gap and 1 whole finger depth diastasis. I know I work with clients who usually have more severe DR, but I'll show you somebody who don't have as severe as some of these did. So 4-finger whole finger depth, and so if you look at the left on the side photo, you can see that belly bulging. It's similar to profile to the last two, but also a little different. You can see her torso is shorter, right? So the bulging does make sense. That comes from sternum and then rounding all the way to the lower belly compared to her. And one of the reasons why maybe she doesn't have such a big bulge on the upper, because she's actually pretty tall. I believe she's 5'7", and so her torso is longer in general. So she is having more of that heaviness and bulging while carrying the babies more toward the lower mid belly to the lower belly. And then here is another mama. So she also had a 4-finger depth, 4 fingers gap and 1 knuckle deep. And you can see she doesn't have such a big bulging belly as the other 3 that you saw. You can see that the bulging is more toward the front, not so much on the side. You can almost see some of that obliques like circling around that belly area. And that's the thing too though, when you have strong obliques, because you're tightening these muscles so much, it's squishing it, so it's forcing pressure to push out, because maybe you have worked on your obliques before. It's putting a lot of tightness here, and then the core pressure still exists inside the core, so it can't really go on to the side anymore. It pushes out toward the front. Okay, next we have this beautiful mama here. She started with 2 to 3 fingers gap. So whenever I say like 2 to 3 fingers gap, meaning 3 fingers would be like the widest, usually would be the belly button, and then 2 finger would either be the top or the bottom. And for her, it's the top. So you can see how she is rounding from above the sternum. So starting from the sternum, she is already, like that belly is already bulging out. She has more than 2 fingers at the top and then 3 fingers. I believe it's because she had a cesarean birth. So those area at the lower belly is stitched in, so it's a lot of the times it's hard for any moms who have C-section to feel the lower belly, because that's where the muscles are stitched together. So she wouldn't able to find that. And so she started with 2 to 3 fingers at 2 knuckles deep. So again, 2 knuckles, it's like this depth. And then going down to see another mama here, she have 3 fingers gap and 1 knuckle deep. Now for her, you can see she has some body fats here, and she needed to lose weight. And then so you can see though, like the whole profile, she's bigger, right? And her belly looks kind of similar to like all the other one that you saw, but because of the body fat that she has a higher BMI, so it makes her it makes sense for her to lose some weight and also to heal the diastasis recti, so she can be more functional, she can fit into the clothes better, and she feel a lot more confidence in herself, right? But for diastasis rise, 3 finger, 1 knuckle deep. And so here's another mama, 16 months postpartum. So for some of those mom, you're asking, okay, years postpartum, I still look certain way. So here's a mom, 16 months postpartum. And you might think that from looking at the previous photo that you saw from other clients, you might think that, oh, she probably would have like a 4-finger gap, right? But she actually only have a 2-finger gap diastasis recti and only 1 knuckle depth, only 1 knuckle. So 1 knuckle is up to here, right? And her bulging belly start kind of from the sternum, but not so much, but definitely the belly button is very protruded. For her, though, it's only 2 finger and 1 knuckle depth. And I can tell you bloating was an issue with her. Bloating, inflammations in her belly, the gut health. So those were the things that we worked on with diastasis nutritions. And then let's look at this mama here. She only had 1.5 finger gap. So about 1 finger gap and one and a half even, like it's quite normal diastasis recti, and she has 1 knuckle depth, so it's not very prominent that she has the diastasis, but she was feeling her core was quite weak, and she didn't like that she wasn't not able to do a lot of things that she used to do, and she just feel very sluggish, and she wanted to build that core strength. She wants to heal her diastasis more and just feeling strong core without bulging, without putting a lot of pressure on the core. So of course, after several months working with me, she healed it. Okay, here here's another mama here, 4-finger diastasis, 2-knuckle deep, open diastasis recti. So when I say open diastasis recti, it means from top to bottom, it's open up. Like there's gap from top to bottom. So she pretty much have 4 fingers across the board from top to bottom, like from the above to below the belly button. So she has a 4-finger diastasis recti, and it's very bulging. So we worked on nutrition, worked on the diastasis, and she is mommy of 2, 17 months postpartum. So here's a mama, 2 fingers gap. So again, you might think, oh, maybe she has 3 to 4. They could look quite similar, but she only had 2 fingers gap and 1.5 knuckle deep. So in that gap, 1.5 knuckle deep, about this much, right? But the belly is there, so we have to work on losing the weight. We have to work on losing body fat, strengthening the core, and she then looked amazing. So this is how she looked even after 1 year, or was it 1.5 years? So she started working on this like new, I think pretty new postpartum, working with me, right? And then after a year or 2, she came back and do more strength training. But when she started, she was already looking like this, right? Her diastasis didn't open up, like wasn't protruding out. Like once you heal your diastasis recti, it wouldn't open up unless like you're putting a lot of pressure and forcing it to open through exercises. But also if you had another pregnancy, yes, then it would open it up. But for her, she didn't, and she just wanted to come back and do more strength training. Okay, here is another good example for those mama who might be thinking, I don't really have a 3 to 4 or whole palm finger depth gap, but like I have a mild diastasis, how come my belly looks so big? So here's a good example, 1.5 finger gap, 1 knuckle deep. You can see she's a mommy of four babies, so lots of loose skin there. You can tell 1 year postpartum, and she started from the sternum up, right? You can tell from where the bra line is, sternum, and then like bulging, almost like the belly button and above the belly button look about the same, like protrusions. And and the lower belly button, maybe not so much. So 1.5 finger gap, 1 knuckle deep. So for her, worked on nutrition, worked on core pressure management, right? And we of course work on strengthening the core, and she looks amazing. And she only lost 5 pounds, so it wasn't really the body fats or baby weight or whatnot that is contributing to this protrusion appearance. Okay, Jenna, my gosh, she had amazing transformation. She is actually a coach in my community, in my Tummy Warrior, and she is helping so many mama and to get started, and she's amazing. So this is her at 6.5 months postpartum, right? She had that core, you can see belly button protruding out. She is 5'2", I believe, and so her torso, I would still think it's kind of normal torso. It's not particularly that short, but because you're shorter, so you generally do have a shorter, but in proportion it's not not proportionally short. And so 6.5 months postpartum, and she worked on it for so long, for 2.5 years postpartum, she worked on it until then. And you can see that difference, like it's still not much, and really important to do the right exercises to make sure you're doing right. Breathing exercises is something that you do not want to skip. I will link a link here below. Make sure you check that exercise. Do not skip that exercise because it is your foundation for your mind to muscles connection. Without that piece, any other exercise you add on top of it will not be useful. So we started that like that at month 1, and month 11 months later, she lost 10 pounds, she maintained, and she healed her DR very well, right? So she started with 3.5 finger gap, 1.5 knuckle deep. So it's not particularly like wide, like 4 or 5 fingers, 3 fingers. And then this is a 6 months transformations, and she healed her DR. Healing, when I say heal, it's about 1 finger and maybe a nail deep. Should I just show you maybe 2 more examples? If you do like this kind of video and explaining maybe kind of what worked for them, and like examples of different profiles, just comment down below. I have a lot more I can show you for sure, but because I can only show so many in one single video, I will pick and choose. So here's another mama. Okay, this is a great example. She has a hernia, right? You can see that the belly button is, you might not see so well in the photo, but you can see the belly button is sticking out a little bit here. So umbilical hernia, and then she started with 5 finger gaps and 2 knuckle depth. So I do see that with Black American or Black African ethnic mamas. Genetically, they are more prone to have this type of diastasis recti. They are genetically more prone to having that protrusion. Maybe like when you're pregnant, every ounce of that weight is more toward the front, and when you're somebody looking you from the back, they can't see that you're pregnant. And I see a lot of that in black community, black American mamas here, and so and a lot of them have diastasis recti. And the second group that I see, second ethnic that I see, is in Indian moms. So I think just to do with genetics and maybe culturally, the way they walk and the way their posture and the distributions of their body. So I think it has something to do with that. Of course, there's no research on it because there's not a lot of research on diastasis anyways. And this is speaking from experience of working with my clients and seeing just like thousands of belly profile. And so she started with 5 finger gaps, 2 knuckle depth, and 4 months later, she was able to bring from 5 to 3 fingers. But the belly, you can see, I mean, the sternum area, the above belly button, healed very well. And so it's more the lower belly, the mid belly, that area we still wanted to work on, and maybe helping her to tighten it, to maybe tighten up the skin a little bit more, the fascia, but that will take time. And she lost quite a bit of weight. So this is a good example to show you that losing weight is very important, and losing weight is definitely okay when you have diastasis recti. It doesn't mean when you have diastasis recti you cannot lose weight. You can simultaneously do both. Okay, I will show you one more. Oh, this mom is good. Oh my gosh, she is absolutely adorable to work with, and her is amazing. She's 3 months postpartum. So if you're newly postpartum, I'm telling you, so much easier to heal and have the chance of spontaneously healing within the first 6 months, I would say, first 6 months postpartum, because your body is going through a lot of changes. And if you start with the right exercises, start with the right lifestyle habit and changes, just little ones, you will see so much bigger results than if you're 1, 2 years, 3 years postpartum. It doesn't mean that it's too late to start. It will take a little longer. But anyway, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't start, even if you're years into postpartum. But for you, if you're newly postpartum, you're watching this, maybe you're just pregnant, work on it as soon as you give birth, right? So yeah, this is her round the belly, open diastasis recti, 4 finger gap, 2 knuckle depth, and that's how she looks, right? And it looks more similar, and I think she described it herself, like she looks exactly like the first week after she gave birth. Like she didn't change for her for 3 months. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here because I can go on and on with all these amazing moms that I have helped, and I'm so proud of them. But I wanted to show you how they look when you have 1.5 finger gaps to 5 to 6 finger gap diastasis recti. They all, you can see something in common. They look like they are still pregnant. They look like they are still carrying a baby. But the degree of how the standard the bellies are, it does not purely depends on how wide the finger gaps are. It also really depends on if you have weight to lose, if you have a hernia, and also if you have that tight obliques. So that's one thing that we will look at, tight obliques or tight pelvic floor. So like maybe if you have a cesarean birth and so you were always very tight throughout the pregnancy down there, and because you had a cesarean birth, the baby never passed through the canal, so it sometimes became even tighter, and so it's holding a lot of the it's shutting down, and the pressure cannot push down, and that's not able to help the core to pressure to distribute evenly inside the core, and so that contributing that pressure to pushing that belly out, right? So yeah, I hope that you find these photo inspiring because they worked hard for it, but it's not impossible. And also just to show you that you can absolutely heal your own diastasis recti. These moms can do it. They are just regular moms, right? They don't have any sort of knowledge in diastasis recti. This is not something that they study. They're not professional. They're just regular moms who have their jobs, who take care of their baby, who are moms to 5 to 6, right? These are just regular moms, and if they can do it, you can do it too. So I believe in you. If you have been working on your diastasis, keep going. Don't give up. If you haven't started working on anything, if you feel ready, then start doing it today. You can do something for yourself, and you're gonna feel so much better. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are wondering what exercise to do now, you can watch this video. Don't skip these exercises when you start healing your diastasis recti. And I'll see you inside. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.